Hi guys, and welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today, guys, I'm coming at you with my first TBR in gotta be over a year. It's gotta be over a year. My first TBR, October TBR. To be read is what that stands for. And it's overly ambitious because there's 5 books on it. And I'm not sure the last time I read 5 books in a month. And I'm definitely not going to make it. I'm not going to make all of them. And that is because I still have not finished the book that I was reading at the end of September. But whatever. So yeah, here's the stuff I'm gonna try to read. And also, the last book that I reveal will be the patron pick. I have all my red patrons submit a book. I'm trying to do a patron read. I did it last month. I actually did it. I actually read a patron book for the first time ever, I guess. So yeah, so stay tuned to see what that book is. Yeah, so without wasting any more time,
Let's get down to business.
this is going to be my TBR for October. So the first book that I'm going to read, spoiler alert, I already read it, is going to be Live Suits, and this is by James S.A. Corey / Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank. This is book 1.1. This is a novella. Is it a novella? It's like 70 pages. Is that a novella or a short story? Regardless, it's probably a novella. It's set in the world of the Captives War series, which Mercy of Gods was the first one. And man, I really love that book. It is my favorite book that I've read this year that wasn't a reread. Anyway, I really, really enjoyed it. My first foray into Daniel Abraham's work with Ty Frank. I loved it so much about it. Many people are saying they didn't like it because they didn't like the characters. So I didn't read The Expanse, so I don't know how good Expanse characters are. I do know how good Abraham characters are normally, and I agree. Like, the characters aren't. I don't care. That's not why I liked Mercy of Gods. I just love everything it has to say about humanity, and I love aliens that feel alien. And I love the mystery that is being set up in the little epigrams at the beginning, so we know where it's going to end up. And I can't wait to see how we get there. And just, again, the human interactions are fantastic. I'm not in love with the characters, but I do like the way they react to each other. So, anyway, Live Suits is a novella. It's about the humans who are fighting this war against other aliens and, basically the Carracks from Mercy of Gods. So I'm going to read that. I've already read it, so stay tuned for my wrap-up. So yeah, that's the first book. I'm also still reading House of Open Wounds by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is the sequel to City of Last Chances, which I read and did a review on up there if you want to go check that out. Loved it. I'm loving House of Open Wounds, and I can't wait to read Days of Shattered Faith, which as soon as I finish House of Open Wounds, I'll apply for that arc and, hopefully read that, because I should have read the arc of this stupid book, but I didn't because I just got so behind and, didn't read. So I'm hoping that'll fix. I love it. It's some of my favorite works by Tchaikovsky. But I'm also going to read, and this is going to begin this month, Boosh. This is Colors in the Steel, book 1 of the Fencer trilogy by K.J. Parker. This will be, other than short stories that have been released, this will be the first, or that I was currently reading from an anthology, and then one that was released. This will be my first K.J. Parker read this year. My last K.J. Parker novel was The Escapement, which is the last book of the Engineer trilogy, which was in bloody December of last year. Holy crap! It's been so long. So this is the first book of Parker's first trilogy that he ever wrote. I don't know if this is his first book as K.J. Parker, but it's certainly the first one of the first. I think this is. I think this is the first K.J. Parker book out ever. And so we're doing a read-along on my channel, and by we, I mean the people who read K.J. Parker with me. So yeah, we're going to be reading this. I hope it's really good. I've heard good things. I love K.J. Parker. I'm going to like it regardless. I have not disliked. Is this third person? Let us see. Excellent. This is third person. I have not disliked any of his third person works yet. So I hope this is really good. I hope I like the ending of this trilogy better than I like the ending of the Engineer trilogy. Not that it was bad, I just didn't like what happened. So I'm hoping I like this one. Siwas Korvax is the other trilogy I've read, but it's a first-person trilogy. And I like that ending. That was pretty good. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to read this. Evie is not allowed to start this till 2 weeks after I start, and Pete's not allowed to start till a week after I start because they read too fast and they'll dust us. And so yeah, me and Anitha will be reading this pretty slowly. But this is the next book I'm going to read as soon as I finish House of Open Wounds. Next up, we have Boosh, Pompeii by Robert Harris. Robert Harris is the author of the Cicero trilogy, of which Imperium, the first book of that, was my favorite book of the year last year. Imperium is a fantastic historical fiction and a fantastic political thriller. If you like either of those, and heavens forfend you like both of them, go read that book. It's so good. And it can really even stand on its own. I think the entire trilogy, if you do not know the history, is superb. I think the entire trilogy is great regardless. I think the entire trilogy is even better if you don't know the history, because some of the things would be like, they're like, twists of fate and plot twists and stuff, unless you already know it, in which case it's not a surprise. But yeah, there's some people in my Discord who run their own little book club, and they picked this one for this month, and so I'm like, well, I wanted to read this anyway, so I'll read it. I'm certain this has plenty in it. I don't know what it's about, but I guarantee you Vesuvius will probably be erupting at some point. So yeah, I'm excited to read this because I like Robert Harris. Next on the list, we have, I will be reading, and I probably won't finish this month. In fact, I guarantee I won't finish this month, but I will be reading Boosh, The Prophet of Edan. This is book 2 in the Edan trilogy by Dr. Philip Chase. So, I have not read this yet because I was not reading it until I had finished recording the audiobook for Way of Edan, which, self-plug, you should check it out because I finished the audiobook and I worked really hard on it, and I hope you enjoy it. You should check it out and listen to it, and I really, really hope that you like it. But now that I'm done, I need to start recording, and I have. I've started recording the second book, so I've read the first couple chapters of this, and, am recording it as I go, unless it's like especially if it's old characters, because I, have already done them in the first book. New characters, I have to wait and see a little bit because I need to know if, they appear later, or their loyalties change or whatever, and that can determine how I portray them in the books. But, so yeah, I'm excited to read this and continue work on the second audiobook to come out. Because I have the baby, my time to record is almost nil. But I am hoping to, plug away just a little bit at a time every day, and then, maybe knock out a chapter on the weekends. And then hopefully do a chunk of it over Thanksgiving break and Christmas break when I do not have to go to school. So that is my hope. So here's hoping that you will see The Prophet of Edan early next year out as well. It's 100 pages longer than the previous one. And apparently, the Way of Edan audiobook is only 15 hours. For a book of its size, it should be 19 hours, but I talk fast. Guys, I don't know how to talk slowly. I can't. Sorry. Just don't, if you buy it, just don't speed me up, Just listen to it on 1 point speed, because I do talk really fast. I don't mean to. I just talk at my normal reading speed. So, I don't know how people read it super slow. How do they do it? How do they sit there and just then he glanced at Sequara, who was listening to Urd and did not kill me. So yeah, I'll be reading Prophet of Edan as well. If I have time, I'll be rereading Augustus by John Williams, Boosh. I love this book. This book is very meaningful to me, personally, the same way that, Stoner is meaningful to other people, and Stoner's meaningful to me too in other ways. I love this book. I love everything about this book. I don't really know why. You can check out my review of it to get some of it. But both times I've read this before, I listened to it mostly on audio, which is tremendous. This time I'm going to read the whole thing physically, and highlight some quotes that I like and everything, because I have not yet read this physically, the entirety of it at least. So I love this book. It is in epistolary format, so it's letters written back and forth. The first third of it is about is about Augustus's rise to power, so it's a historical, really reads like a historical fiction at that point, and can get confusing, especially if you know nothing about Rome. But then everything afterwards is just like being able to turn a book about the first emperor of Rome into, you know, a book about the beauty of art, the importance of art, the importance of family, what power means, what liberty means, what loneliness is, what duty, loyalty is. Ugh, absolutely brilliant book. I don't think I'll get to it, but this is a book I'm going to read whenever I have some time to free up something. But because I haven't finished House of Open Wounds yet, I don't think I'm going to have time to read this. But Augustus by John Williams, y'all should read it. And finally, the book that my patron wheel chose. So, I had half of the entries were Scarab Path, which is book 5 of the Shadows of the Apt series. And I had a Shadows of the Apt read along for the first 4 books a couple years ago. Who knows when it was, but it was a long time ago. And I should have just kept going. But I listened to public opinion. They weren't all going to continue with it, and I stopped. And I should have just kept going. I should never listen to public opinion because the demos is wrong, like all the time. I should never allow democracy in Alexandria. And I have not yet gotten back to it. Part of it is just I've forgotten the first 4 books, a lot of it, even though I found a wiki so I can reread synopses, which is fantastic. But I've not yet gotten to it. And I want to. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that I keep having other things come up and I just don't have time. So guaranteed, like this will eventually force me to read it because it'll be on the Patreon wheel. So fully half of the Patreon wheel was Scarab Path. And after spinning the wheel, the book that I will be reading is not the Scarab Path. And it's going to make so many people so mad. They're going to be so angry because I did not spin the Scarab Path. Instead, it's landed on this lone book chosen, put on there by Al, and it is Boosh, The Curse of Chalion by Lois McMaster Bujold. So, I've heard really, really good things about this, actually. And I've also heard that I will really like it because of what I like in books. I've not yet read anything by Lois McMaster Bujold. Fun fact, Shards of Honor, the first book in the Verkosigan series, was on my patron wheel. And it was my patron pick, year ago, whatever, when. And I didn't read it because I just couldn't keep up with everything. And it was very short, and I just literally couldn't get all my reading done. I'm in a different place now, so hopefully this will give me a taste of Bujold's writing. I'm super excited. It sounds like it's right up my alley. This is actually, fun fact, this was on my first TBR on my channel. This was on here. I was going to try to read it during the summer of 2020. I did not succeed, but it was on there. A man broken in body and spirit, Kazaril returns to the noble household he once served as page and is named secretary tutor to the beautiful, strong-willed sister of the impetuous boy who is next in line to rule. It is an assignment Kazaril dreads, for it must ultimately lead him to the place he most fears, the royal court of Cartagos, where the powerful enemies who once placed him in chains now occupy lofty positions. But it's more than the traitorous intrigues of villains that threaten Kazaril and the Royess Izel. Here, for a sinister curse hangs like a sword over the entire blighted house of Chalion, and only by employing its darkest, most forbidden of magics can Kazaril hope to protect his royal charge, an act that will mark him as the tool of the miraculous, and trap him in a lethal maze of demonic paradox. Sounds so cool. I've just heard it's really good, and it sounds like there's political stuff, which I really, really like, especially when it's handled well, and not just like, oh, evil scheming king, or evil scheming vizier, and whatever. So that's what I'll be reading. Scarab Path, folks, better luck in November. So guys, that is all for me for today. What are you planning to read in October? Or have you read something already that's really good in October? Have you read House of Open Wounds? And did you like it? And have you read Augustus? And if not, why not? I realize that since I am not Jimmy or Philip or Joanna, I can't force you guys to read something. Like, I can't just say it and have you guys be like, oh, I'm going to read that. But, pretend that it's one of them saying it. welcome to my channel on the best. I wish I had my glasses. I don't know where they are. On the best of fantasy. You should read Augustus by John Williams. It reminds me of One Piece. And hey guys, yeah, check out Augustus. It reminds me of when I was a professional wrestler and I met The Rock. Hey, you should read Augustus because I've read it. This is one of the few books that I'll suggest that I read. You should read it so you can be a elf nature lover like me. Ah, music. Ooh, stoicism. So that's all for me for today, guys. As always, information about my Patreon and Discord is down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys.